Grand Rising, Grand Rising. Going live today. Going to talk about some stuff. What's wrong with this here biblical? This here Bible. What's wrong with it? We got all kind of stuff wrong with it. Give about 5 minutes for people to get on. If you're on, when you come on to TikTok, I need you to smash the like button like a champ, so the TikTok bullies don't get rid of it. Gracias, mi amor. I got some coffee. Gonna give a few minutes, let people get on. My life right. Yep, making noise. I took all that out because crack some of the cigars. Come on in, hey Faye, Crimson, Miriam. We are on, we live on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. Right now, I need the TikTok people to hit that like button. We need to get up to 1,000 likes real quick so that the TikTok bullies don't get the TikTok taken off. We're here in Atlanta, Georgia right now. And we're going to talk about some money. We're going to talk about money. Money. Be tricking the poor people into their business and keeping them down. One of the new things we start doing is videos that are very popular that I create. We're going to have a live based on those subject matters. Since that's what we're going to talk about. That's what we're going to do. Someone takes, I got to get the mix up. Terrorists. Yeah, I would do it. It's Brent. Crimson. Crimson. All right now. So I did the video a couple days ago, and in that video, somebody else made in a comment to me. Hey, Nicole, Texas, we're on Texas. And the video was based on the fact that it was why does it seem like all the important people in the Bible were rich? So I went back and recently looked at it. And that's the overwhelming majority of important people are rich. And somebody made a dumb comment on something. All the Israelites are wondering they weren't rich. I clearly said the important. Visibility restricted for 10 minutes. Oh, because of risk of using tobacco. Oh my gosh. TikTok. We talk. TikTok is huge on the censorship. You're getting on my nerve. Getting on my last nerve. My pleasure, Sherwood. Okay, welcome, Ashley. This Ashley, you know, I like to throw it up there. This Ashley first live. Thank you for being here. Hopefully be back more often. So I did this video a couple days ago where I talked about the fact that the important people in the Bible seem to be all rich. And one person made a comment about, oh, it's, you know, the Israelites, they weren't all rich. I said the important people, right? So we're going to have a longer discussion. That video, of course, all my videos are normally no. So we're going to have a longer discussion. how they're based on the fact of what side of the fence you're on. You saw the thumbnail for video combination preaching that become rich and wealthy of Jesus. What does it prosper and to gain the whole world, but lose his soul, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, all the important. And then of course Jesus supposed to be poor, right? So we're gonna first get rid of all the bullshit and look at what this book actually says, and then just look at the bullshit of this book because it has absolutely nothing to do. I'm gonna go ahead and say the first statement, and the ending statement. Money only shows you who you really are. That's it. The more money you have, the more we get to see who you are. The less money you have, you can't really show all of who you are. You can still be an asshole and not have money. You get more money, you're just going to be a bigger asshole. You could be a really nice person and not have money. You get money, you're going to be even nicer of a person. So, but we're going to go through some of the misinformation that we were given as we grew up. So we'll start from the beginning. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channels. I'm gonna need my brother and we have my brother's house in Atlanta. I'm gonna need him to move his Wi-Fi closer to this part of the house. I don't know where it's at in their house, but I'm gonna move it. Don't tell my brother, but move his Wi-Fi because I will be outside. So anyway. I thought one of the best ways to start this conversation off is to go over some of the teachings and questions that I had when I was a youth. You see, when I was about 12 years old, I read a part of the Bible. Well, actually, when I was 9 is when it first started. When I was 9 years old, and y'all remember, I've told y'all many times before, when I was 9 years old, the pastor was doing this sermon. Pastor Young was doing this sermon, and he said that it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than it is for the rich man to go to heaven. And therefore, he held up a sewing needle, and he said a camel cannot fit this. So therefore, all rich people go to hell, right? All rich people go to hell. And I was like, hell no. Because I did want to go to heaven, but being poor was not going to work, right? You can offer you can offer some better coverage points. Okay, good. So Devin knew he disagrees with the title, but excited to hear my justification. All right, good. I'm gonna convince you before this is over. That according to the Bible, that righteousness and wealth go hand in hand. So when you read the Bible, that's everything that people tell me about this book, right? So I wasn't read the Bible for myself. I started reading the Bible for myself. Right now, it clicked with me. You can read something, but if you read something, it doesn't. So there was something in clicked with me. I know this ain't gonna make much of a difference, me moving this a little bit closer, but you never know where the break point is. Genesis chapter 2, it talks about the creation of the Garden of Eden. And then you get to that part where it tells you where it's located. And it says, and there was much gold in the land, right? And I thought to myself, what the hell does gold matter if it's just Adam and Eve in the garden? If they're the only two people on the planet, what does that matter? Right? It doesn't matter at all. And I'm going to answer questions as we go through. This is not a traditional Tuesday live. You left religion, but you believe in God, or you're an atheist. I'm not an atheist. I'm more of an agnostic. There's not enough proof. There's not enough proof that any God exists. But I am open to the possibility. But my criteria for a God, no religion, every religion, their God does not meet my criteria. Simple way of saying it. And yeah, I know it keeps buffering because for some reason my brother's Wi-Fi is not doing that great outside. But we're gonna fix that tomorrow. Poor man interpreting irony is he wasn't talking about sewing. Yes, I came to realize that later on that he wasn't a sewing needle. And then especially when I went to Israel itself and I saw an eye of a needle, and I was like, Pastor Young didn't know a damn thing of what he was talking about. But I later found out that Pastor Young couldn't read. So this was just based on 1970s knowledge of what an eye of a needle was. There was no internet back then. So yes, I realized it was completely wrong. And I was taught what it was actually meaning, that you got to be able to take off all of your wealth and enter, that sort of thing. Because going through the eye of a needle, you had to take everything off of the camel, but a camel can easily walk through it without it. So I did come to understand it. So what would be the criteria? All these emotions. If you're a God, you cannot be ruled by emotions, because anything outside of yourself cannot cause you to do anything. So if you're an emotional being, if you have favorite children, if you are committed to genocide, if you use fear as a tactic, or even to use love as a tactic, no. A true God true creator would be emotionless. It would just create the universe and let the universe be and not require worship. Why would any God require worship? If I'm God, well, I don't require worship. So why would I ever be jealous? Why do I need your worship? Why do I even need you? Just created just simply because he created. So anyway, what was I at? Oh, gold in the land. So I was curious. I was like, okay, gold in the land. Why would gold matter? Gold should not matter. Why does it mention gold? Right? Gold doesn't. You can't build a house with gold. Gold is very limited in what it can do for people, and it's only two people on the planet. It has no value other than certain health-ish things, but it never mentions what the value of the gold was for it to be there. And I didn't understand why it said that until I read the Sumerian story, and then began to realize that this book is only written based on the knowledge and the culture of the people at the time frame that it was written. But it was dumb to add it. If I was writing the Bible today, I would not write that when the first two people was on the planet that there was much gold in the land, because it opens up questions, right? Right. So I had a problem with that. But why does it mention gold in the land? Because gold had value to the people who's writing it. And to maintain the strength, the line for this conversation, as I started reading this book, I started noticing over the years that every person who is important, because you got to understand, I became an adult when prosperity preaching became a big thing, right? And so, of course, it opened, I was conscious of that going on at the time frame, right? Is this real live? Can't even understand the asking of that question. Uh, so the overwhelming majority of the people in this book who are the overwhelming majority of the people in this book who are important in comparison to the other people around them are wealthy. And this book, especially in the book of Job, since the book of Job is the oldest book of the Old Testament that it was written first, based on what linguistics and archaeology says. Job is the first one written. And Job is a book about a rich man who lost everything based on a bet that God had with the Satan. And then when he lost everything, there's a part in there that most people overlook. Every time when his three friends come, his three friends are insisting that he had to have sinned in order for all these things to have happened to him. That Job wasn't as righteous as they thought he was, because they thought Job's righteousness and his wealth went hand in hand. God has blessed him. That's why he had the wife. That's why he had all them kids. That's why he had all them animals. He had all that land, and he had all these things. The Satan was even said, the only reason Job worshiped you is because you have given him all these things. So all those things are taken away from him. His three friends are like, you sinned. It's the only reason. You had to have done some sin, and you need to repent. Job didn't sin. Job was like, I ain't done nothing wrong. But then when it's all said and done, when God comes down to Job was like, hey, what did I do, man? I did everything right. And he was like, and then instead of God saying, oh, I had a bet with Satan, and that's why you lost all your stuff, but you're going to get it all back because you know what? You really didn't do anything. I just had a bet. Nope. He cussed Job out. He cussed him out. And then, oh, no, this. Oh, because it's choppy. I'm with you, Ryan. I just thought that was crazy. And so he got cussed out. And then they gave him more children, which is kind of like, okay, getting more children doesn't remove the stain of the fact that you killed my other, 7 kids. And then his friends had to give him all of some gold and, gave him all this stuff. Right. So Job was a perfect example of how the ancient Israelites, when they were writing this book, based on their belief, wealth has something to do with your righteousness. We also find a similar story with Jesus and the disciples. Most people don't like to think about it in these terms, but when a rich young ruler came up to Jesus, and this is not a parable, this was, something that supposedly happened. Rich young ruler comes up to Jesus and he said, hey, I want to follow you. How do I want to get in heaven? I want to be down with y'all. I'm good to go. He said, hey, have you followed all the commandments? He said, I followed all the commandments. I follow all the commandments. I do all the stuff. I'm doing it. And then Jesus told him, well, give away all your stuff and follow me. He walked away disappointed. A lot of Christians like to use that as an example of that, rich people cannot be righteous. They're not righteous, and so on and so forth. But they fail to look at what is said right after that. Right after that, it talks about how the disciples, who were not as wealthy as that guy, were all dismayed because they was like, whoa, if he can't get in, how the hell we gonna get in? Because he's rich. Because they thought wealth and God, righteousness went hand in hand. And then Jesus is like, don't you worry about it. Y'all following me, and I'm gonna give y'all gonna sit on 12 thrones. And mind you, he's telling y'all gonna sit on 12 thrones. So he's saying, and Judas is gonna sit on the throne. People don't think about that. Y'all gonna sit on 12 thrones and judge the tribes of Israel. So they all right. He made them feel better. But it's not like the disciples or Jesus was poor either. These jokers had bank as well. Now I know somebody earlier said something about before I go there. Because I don't want to miss too many questions. Noah was a hill dweller living off of the land. Noah wasn't rich by how you would compare wealth in today's world, but Noah had a family. He had animals, and he had what they would call wealth back then. He wasn't poor, right? And living off the land, many people, look, we just came across from Texas, and we saw some people living off the land. They not poor. Just because I know farmers here in Georgia, they're not poor. I know a farmer. I used to get my little watermelons and fruits from them off the side of the road. I had a conversation with them one time. You know that they make $90,000 a year just off that little cart that they have on the side of the road. 90,000 a year off that little cart. They have a farm out in Eastman, Georgia. To look at them, you would think they're poor. They are very far from poor. Them jokers got bank. And then he's talking, and the husband was like, he's the least of in his family because his family had big time peanut farmers. So living off the land does not make you poor. And Moses didn't acquire righteousness until he was banished from Egypt royalty, right? But he started out rich and he was favored already. When he went out there, you're right, he went out there, he was working with Jethro and everything, but then he came back. And when he came back, he was a man with the power and the authority and a man with the wealth. He still was wealthy. Either way you slice it, in comparison to how they lived at that time frame, they would have been considered men of means. I ain't saying super rich and nothing like that, but men of means. So don't try to twist it up into today's economy. Because when you look at Abraham didn't start out with a bunch of money, right? Where did Abraham get his wealth from? Abraham got his wealth by pimping out Sarah. If you recall the stories, he pimped Sarah out to the Pharaoh. Oh, tell them that you my sister, even though she was his half sister. And because they're going to kill me because you so beautiful. I don't know how good looking she was looking at around 80 years old. But I guess the Pharaoh wanted some 80-year-old poom poom or some 70-year-old poom poom. I don't know. Mm. But this cigar just does not want to smoke. But either way, he pimped out Sarah to him. And then I believe it was the king of the Amaleks or the Ammonites. Somebody was, I can't remember which one it was. He pimped out again to another one. And when they realized that Sarah was his wife and that they had created a sin, they gave them slaves and gold and silver and animals and all that. So the Abraham's initial comeuppance was pimping out his wife. But Abraham was wealthy, and he was so wealthy that him and Lot parted ways because they had too much stuff. That's how wealthy they were. Jacob was wealthy. Isaac wealthy. Esau, even though he's not favored in this book, wealthy. They all acquire wealth. And Jesus was not poor. Jesus was not poor. Jesus was a carpenter / stone mason. He was a stone mason, to be truthful. Because when you go to Israel, you go to the city of Nazareth, you'll see that in and around the time frame of Jesus, there's a stone quarry there. Jesus most likely was a stone mason, not a wood carpenter. And if you understood back then, certain trades that people were involved in were highly, highly paid, and they were some of the only people that can go from country to country without having to have permission from the government, right? So he was not poor, would have never been poor, wasn't born poor. There was no place, no inn for them to stay in. It's talking about a family house. It's not talking about a hotel. And so Jesus wasn't poor. He was a traveling preacher. But they were collecting that money. What was that movie? What's that movie? It was a movie with the traveling preacher who was scamming the hell out of people. With Steve Martin in it. That was Jesus. And his disciples. You got your boy Peter. When the fish became so heavy in the boat, he had to bring in extra people. Yeah, Leap of Faith by Steve Martin. That was Jesus. Traveling town to town, shanking people for their money. But Peter had to call in all his other boats. So Peter wasn't No, not Dirty Rotten Scandals. It's called Leap of Faith. Even though Dirty Rotten Scandals is one of my favorite Steve Martin movies. Like, I love that movie. Matthew was an accountant, right? See, he worked for the IRS. And one of the wealthiest accountants of the era was a man named Philo of Alexander. And because so much trade went through Alexander, Philo was one of the wealthiest men in the Roman Empire. And he was a Hellenistic Jew. So tax collectors were not poor. A fisherman that got multiple boats is not poor. Jesus was so wealthy in his ministry that he had two accountants. Think about that. Judas and Matthew were the accountants for the money that they were getting. That's how leap of faith. That was Jesus. Leap of faith, Steve Martin. So if you name most people in the Bible, David, Saul, Obadiah, Boaz, most of them got money. Hell, Esther, she went from a little girl, but she got up, she became the queen. That one night with the king gave him that poom poom the right way. She became the queen. Solomon, just name them. Almost everybody who's important, who is mentioned in this book, you will not find any of them that are poor. If they are important, they had an important role that was continued, not a one-off, somebody who was in that book, and a whole story is based on them. They're kings, they're judges, they own a bunch of cattle, they got money, they collecting all the shekels, they banking, they in positions of power and prestige. You do not see them as the regular, there are no regular Joes. So this is one reason why the Israelites used to think that if you are rich, then God must be blessing you because you're righteous. Certainly, logically, we know there were righteous people. There are nice people. There are good people who are not rich. We know this. But when the mindset is put on people that the reason why you don't have is because of some iniquity that you have in yourself, it creates a situation where people remain poor. Or they can remain under your conditioning. The reason why the thumbnail has both eight keys to God's system of wealth, and then the other picture is talking about how gaining wealth is, not a good thing. It contradicts your Bible. These people are contradicting themselves, and the Bible contradicts itself, right? You even got the rich, the prodigal son story. Prodigal son, he's born into wealth. He wants his inheritance. He goes out, he loses all of it, comes back. Then he wants to sit there and be like, let's let me work as a field hand. No. His daddy like, now that you not learned your lesson, I'm gonna bring you back into the fold. I'm gonna still make sure that you live a wealthy life. I don't blame. And then his brothers get mad. I don't blame his brother. His brother's like Esau. I stayed here with you, did everything, took care of you, took care of mama and daddy. I ran the farm and the business and everything. And this joker go out and act wild and stupid, and then you just welcome him back. See, that's the problem with people in their families. Why do we give so much? I know this is a divergent right here. We need to stop giving all the attention to the ones that's fucking up in the family in hopes that they come back because we think they need more help. We need to pay attention to the ones that are doing right. You see, I tell my kids all the time, I said, look, if you're doing right, if you're doing good, you're trying to make something of yourself, you're a good person, I will give you more help than the one that's over here fucking around. I'm not giving that one as much help. You go and mess around and be doing stupid stuff, I'm going to leave you out there by yourself. Prodigal son would have came back, I'm like, yeah, you're right. You finna work as a field hand for a while. I need some proof. I need you to grow back up. I'm not finna cuddle you, baby. No, I'm finna take care of this one. Rebecca choosing Jacob. Should have chose Esau. You ain't tell Esau to go off. You had your favorites. And which one you have favorite? The one that's a liar. The little lying one. See, that's the bullshit. That's bullshit to me. Sorry, I know I went on a little tangent there, but I can't stand that because I experienced that in my own life, where I'm like, I'm sitting here doing everything right. This fool is wreaking havoc in the family, and y'all seem to love this motherfucker more than y'all love me. And so I got to a point like, what the hell with y'all? Mm-mm. I'm pretty sure many of y'all had that same. Some of y'all had that same experience. You got that one family member who be fucking up, but it seems like everybody in the family always trying to surround that joker and help that joker. Mm-mm. That's why the prodigal son story always pissed me off. Anytime it was read, talked about, it always pissed me off. That's why the whole Jacob and Esau storyline irritates me to no end. Ryan said, see, I not messed up by going on tangent because now y'all gonna talk about it. He showed his love, it was his son. I don't give a damn. Now, Ryan, I know you might be new to me, so let me explain something. This is one of the ways that I think, and some people may say I'm wrong, but I don't really care. Blood don't make family. The relationships that I have with people is what makes family. My brother is my brother, but when we was growing up, I couldn't stand his ass because of the way he treated me. It wasn't until later on in my teenage years that we actually started becoming brothers and had the relationship. So I don't care about, oh, that's my son. My son know right now. There's a way that he can live his life and act, and I'll be like, I don't give two shits. I will take. I'll do better by somebody who has no blood relation to me, but treats me better and respects me more. I ain't got nothing to do with it. Nothing against it. Nothing. Mm-mm. He almost died and lost everything, and it's his own fault. You want to go out there and be unruly? You think you're ready to handle the world? Get your ass on out there and handle the world. Let's see how I treat you. And when the world screws you over and you come groveling back, I'm not finna put you back in the same position. No. You're going back to the bottom. You're gonna go to the bottom here too. Work your way up. Just because you came back begging don't mean that you learned something. Mm-mm. That's actually bad parenting to me. That's bad parenting. So what happens when you want to do better? He came back to his father to do better and to work. Exactly. It's you come back, you're gonna work, but I'm not gonna put you back at the position you were in. That's my problem with that story. He took him back and put him back to the position. No, you come back and say you just want to be a laborer, just let you at least be a laborer. Okay. Get your ass out there and shuck that corn. Go on out there and slap that hole or whatever they had going on. Go on out there, dig them trenches. I'm not saying you don't let them come back, but they got to earn their way back, is my point. Earn your way back. That's why that story sucks. It teaches bad parenting. Say the only people that have problems with your atheist is your sorry ass brother-in-laws. And if a relationship, to me, if you got people, we're in Georgia right now. You got people who can go to work and be friends with people who are of different religions, but yet your own family would treat you like shit because you got a different religion. Like that don't make sense to me. How can you be friends with Muslims, friends with Jews, friends with atheists? You can be friends with everybody else, but when it comes to like Brian is saying him, all of a sudden now you mad at him. You can't. That's dumb. That's dumb. Makes no sense. But let me try to segue back. Let me try to segue back a little bit. But over and over again, this book really demonstrates that you got to be wealthy. That if you're righteous, that you're going to gain wealth. And out of this came all the prosperity preaching, right? And I remember in the 90s, prosperity preaching was huge, 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 huge. Late 80s, early 90s, it was huge here in Atlanta. It was huge. Put it that way. This is when Creflo and all of them start picking up their steam, because they were telling people that God gonna bless you, God gonna shake it up, and it's gonna run over and poureth over. And there are many verses that legitimately talk about that. There's verses that say, do many businesses in Ecclesiastes, do many businesses because you don't know which ones will be successful, right? And, and it gives you lessons in it, that you're supposed to measure twice and cut once, really plan your stuff out, minimize your risk, be a good the kind of stories of the talents. Hey, this dude took 5 bags and turned it into 10. This one took 3 bags and turned it into 5. This one hid his bag, and he was considered horrible. When they took the 1 bag from him, did they give it to the one? Did they spread it equally to? Nope. They gave it to the one that did the most, that made the most money, that was able to double his money. See, the second one didn't double the money, but the first one doubled the money. So we're gonna take 1 bag and give it to the one who doubled the money, because we want to make sure he make more money. Well, they say you at least could put my money in the bank so he can earn some interest. Nah. So you got to be good with your talents. You got to manage your talents well so you can make more money. You got to double your return on the investments. Ryan, I hear what you're saying, Ryan. It shows the grace of God. Really? It doesn't, to me. You got problems in family because of that type of attitude. I'm not buying it. That's a cop out. That's a cop out. And that's right, Trauma. What's up, Trauma? You gotta know how to flip it. You gotta know how to flip it. You get that first bag. See, I don't know the measurements. I wish I knew the measurements. But you got to keep flipping it till you get a key. And when you got a key, you flip that key, and then you get 3 keys. Then you flip them 3 keys, and you come back and get 9 keys. And of course, you're right. You have to be able to prove. But you can't prove that there is such a thing as God's grace. There is human grace. That's it. Just human grace. There's human attachments to family and relationships, but there is no God's grace, because that same type of story is told with the Indus religion, is told with every other religion, of some son going out or some child going out or some group of people going out thinking they want to do their own thing, and then they are welcomed back by the tribe. It's not even an original type story because it's a common human trait. What's up, Saul? I'd rather be rich with joy, truth, and love than money, slavery, and worldly ways. And no, I never tithe in church. I tithe in prayer. I tithe in paying it forward. Now, that became a very popular thing here in Atlanta around 2000. People say, "Oh, I'm a tithing and I'm gonna pay it forward." But here's the thing: if I'm poor, I know people say you can be happy. That happiness doesn't have a monetary value to it. I can't be happy if I'm poor. I'm saying right now, it's an impossibility. When I hear people say, I'm poor, but I'm happy." No, 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 no. And understand, when I say poor, I'm talking about you can't. You can't do one of the primary functions that's needed in a family. I can't. I can put a roof over you and feed you, and the roof is always in doubt. I can put clothes on your back in the right seasons. The roof is in doubt. Sometimes the electricity 5-10 days for me to get it right, because that's poor. And you are just making, say, a year, but you got a roof and you got a good budget and everything's secure, you got food, you got your necessities. That's not poor to me, right? When the ends are meeting, you're not poor. So it's not a certain amount of money that makes you poor. It's your mishandling of money that makes you poor. So I cannot be poor and be happy. It's an impossibility. You can't keep cutting it. So you got to be rich. Rich is all my bills always paid. There are other people. I gotta have a certain level of lifestyle. I'm gonna be happy. It's weird. The Wi-Fi on my laptop says the signal is strong, but the Wi-Fi for the StreamYard connection seems to be acting stupid. But I cannot. So when you to a church, you see a whole bunch of people in there. And yeah, season the Wi-Fi. Let me see if I'm gonna let my phone just be on the phones, the tower. Maybe maybe it's too many items on my brother's Wi-Fi. I don't know. It's the demons. I think this is in relation to what Ryan said earlier. Yeah, I would refuse to work my ass off and bust it and then be like, it's all because of God. Psh, bullshit. I know who took the risk. I know who did the work. Yeah, the trip went great, so we had a good time. A couple mishaps here and there, but it was great. Trying to mess up the live stream because so I really started wondering in my 20s about that whole message. Because see, I grew up in a church, and this is one of the things that's interesting. When you go into certain churches, when you grow up in certain areas, certain churches are going to lean towards the prosperity and that you're supposed to become wealthy, you're supposed to be able to have money. Whereas other churches, dumb shit like the poor are righteous and the poor are going to inherit the earth and the poor, the first will be last and the last will be first. And what they're trying to do is, hey, look, you're in the press, you're poor, but just wait for heaven and everything's gonna be great. You're gonna be first. Rich people are evil. Rich people already got their heaven on earth. They already got what they desire. But for those of us who are struggling and we are praying and we keep giving our tithes and all this stuff, we're gonna be first in heaven. We're gonna have crowns of glory. We're gonna have mansions in heaven. All that bullshit. I grew up in one of them churches, right? Surrounded by those kind of churches. And those churches were dwindling in numbers, and the other churches around us was getting bigger and bigger because they was talking that prosperity bullshit. Oh, they would double down on it. double down on it. They just going over there, the Greater Zion Hill, because he just preaching about how God is blessing them and that. And then more and more people be over the Greater Zion Hill. You see the people over there at Greater Zion Hill, there, still being broke as a joke over this little small church. That's my nerves. I get another. Especially chairman of the deacon board. So I had meeting with their deacons. We would do things together, or charitable events or conferences and things like that. I'm looking at a nice building. I go back to our church that had a building fund been lasting for 2 decades. So it was disturbing, to say the least. And because I had a hatred for being poor, I was not going to go for that bullshit. But that's how they teach you. If you're in a poor church with poor people, they're going to tell you that poverty, that being poor is better than being rich, that having the joy of the Lord is better than being rich, that struggling financially, struggling on earth is better than being rich. Then you go down the street to the big church and they tell you that you are blessed because of your righteousness towards God. You got that high paying job because of your righteousness towards God. You got more money in the bank because of your righteousness towards God. So you got, and both of them are giving you scriptures. Both of them telling you that it's in the Bible. And so these poor people think that they're right. These rich people think that they're right. And the ones that don't have the mental fortitude, that will love the them that they will be vindicated. People, they're gonna get theirs in the end, and they run to them. When the real truth is, you got a congregation of people. And I remember sitting up there one day, where the deacons sit. I'm looking at the people in this church, and I got to know most of them. It's only about 50 people. I know most of them, and I'm like, not one of these people in here would I ever make a business partner or invest in, because they just don't have it within themselves to increase their value to the marketplace. And every time somebody does come to that church as a visitor, and after they've been there for about a good month or two, anyone that got that kind of thing in them, they all leave. Preaching, and they all leave. And I started to recognize that wealth ain't got nothing to do with anybody's God. Wealth got something to do with what value you bring to the marketplace, how prepared you are when opportunity presents itself. That is where wealth is. God ain't got shit to do with it. None of these guys. That's why the biblical teachings, the dogma of the Bible, the doctrine of the Bible, the actual scriptures of it, you can find contradictions in it, because you can find a piece of scripture to support either side of the argument. And when you can find scripture that can support either side of the argument, then it invalidates based on that book. From whatever, right? So, like Ryan earlier said, he's interested in the truth. The truth is the fact that your wealth status has nothing to do with your righteousness. You got evil motherfuckers out there who are wealthy. You got evil motherfuckers out there who are poor as hell. You got the best character people in the world who are wealthy as all get out. And you got the best character people in the world who are broke as a joke. So wealth has nothing to do with this. It has some to some deity, then you are limiting. I'm trying to think about that for a minute. Well, I like this. Think about that. Just think about it. If you believe that the only amount of wealth you can gain is based on the whether God gives it to you, you just limited create much. And I agree with you. The self, I think you meant rich is often misunderstood, or wealth is often misunderstood. It is. Everybody has their different levels. My brother would consider his life to be wealthy. Will say that. Other people will say, and that's nice size piece of land. Got all the toys that he wants. Money saved up. You know, all that kind of stuff. Some people will say he's poor. Some people say he's wealthy. Some people will say he's rich. If I go to what one of the things that quickly clicked on me, and this is why everybody needs to travel outside of America, but you can still do this in America though. Or take a long trip. You can go to the poorest place you can possibly go. People will consider whatever your lifestyle is right now to be wealthy. I'm the first time. But when we pulled up in Barcelona, we had 8 weeks. I mean, not 8 weeks, 4 weeks in Barcelona. And I went to some areas of poverty that we don't even have here in America. Got them. And I saw some poverty in some areas going across country. And I was like, God damn. But there are certain areas in Barcelona, they got poverty that y'all don't even understand. Can't even conceptualize. Yemen, Oman, back in the early 90s, they got levels of poverty. Y'all I won't even understand. Went to Sudan, levels of poverty, y'all can't understand it. If you've ever been to Brazil and go to the favelas, that's a level of poverty that you can't understand. You said the audio. I didn't bring my big microphone with me. Maybe I should have. The lag is killing. I don't know why it keeps doing this. What's your opinion on financial if you give money to someone? Do you believe it will come back to you in some way? No. No, I don't. Money coming back to you just that's a popular misteaching from preachers and from your motivation. Let's say it put forth any action with a plan, ain't shit coming back to you. Nothing is coming back to you. No, I would not go back to the military. I know it helped make me who I am, but no, I wouldn't. But no, money's not going to return you just because you give money. Because that means I can just give money, sit on my ass and do nothing, and money should come back. It doesn't work that way. If you ain't putting forth some action to create money, money is not coming. And there was a saying, yeah, that you do that. That's a myth. It's the love of money is the root of all evil. It is not money itself. It is the love of. Christians always say that wrong. It is the love of. If the money was the root of all evil, then churches wouldn't accept money. If the money was the root of all evil, then Jesus wouldn't have found some money in the fish mouth. He wouldn't have accepted offerings. It's the love of money. But really, it's the love of, if you love anything too much, it causes you to do things that are unnatural for you to be doing. You'll go to great lengths. You'll hurt others for whatever that is, right? And that could be anything. You too much, you're going to suffer. So Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. And one of the things he talks about is that must be, even love must be done and given in measure, must always be under control. If you love anything too hard, you will crush it. Remember the cartoons with the abominable snowman? He would grab Bugs or Daffy and he would be like, I'm going to love you and hug you. And he'd be rubbing them so hard and hugging them so hard that he's actually hurting them. So it's too much. Too much love of anything is damaging. And Ryan, if you're saying no, it doesn't about the love of money, you really need to go read your Bible. How about the love of pride? You mean when a person is narcissistic and egotistical, like your God? Sure, I can easily see it. You can see it in a person's actions. You can see it in how they handle things. And if you have a higher conscious state, then you can evaluate yourself to see if you are being that type of person, and then make changes. Grand Rising, Renee, how you doing? Ryan, Daniel. I would have to read this in its whole context. A feast is made for laughter, and wine maketh merry, but money answereth all things. I like that. I'm gonna go read that whole thing, but I like that. I love KFC too much. I consider going to KFC and asking for the recipe at gunpoint. I know you got a problem. But that's all it really is. Everything has to be done in measure. If you can love oranges so much and then you wind up giving yourself vitamin C poisoning. Something that could be good for you all of a sudden turns bad for you. You see what I'm saying? So it's the love of things. Everything has to be measured. Everything has to have its give and take. Only so much can be given. You can't love something too much. Like, I would never want a woman to say, I love you so much that there's nothing you could do, no wrong you could do, that I'm just gonna love you anyway, and I'm gonna love you so much that I just want to be in your presence every day, all the time. Wherever you go, I want to go. When you take a shit, I'm gonna sit at the door because I want to be close to you. Hell no. No. I tested a woman on that one time. She said that she started that no matter what you do, I'll always love you. I said, really? So if I slap shit at you and beat you, you still gonna love me? And she was like, no. And she was like, oh, no, not. I say, exactly. Don't say, don't say things like that, because that's crazy. Because if she would have said yes, I'd be like, okay, you crazy as hell, so I'm done with you. Because you got a problem. That's that um, acrimony kind of love. That's that you wake up and she sitting over top of you with a gun, like Goodfellas kind of love. Mm-mm. Mm-hmm. So I don't want that. So money is the same way. If you love money enough, you'll hurt other people just to get it. You'll throw your morals out the door just to get it. You'll forget to love yourself just to get it. And that's why I like what Mahendra just said. Out of everyone I lost, I miss myself the most. And that's what happens when you love anything too much is you lose yourself. And losing yourself is the worst thing that could ever possibly happen to you, in truth. Because without you knowing you, having you, loving you, being you, then there's no point. You lose who you are, you lose all morality. Anybody can steer you any direction. You know, you gotta love yourself first. You gotta love yourself more than you love anybody else. Like that's legit. You need to love yourself more than you love anybody else. Because if you don't love yourself more than you love anybody else, then anybody can treat you any kind of way. Anybody can put you into situations that are going to be that's going to violate who you truly are. See, people like Andy crazy. I know TikTok, y'all can't see what Andy wrote. That's why I try to read them. Say greetings, just tune in about good fellas. A girl on top of me with the gun does I don't know what sounds, but kind of turns me on. No, that's crazy. Would you consider love love has been one of the highest vibrations? Yes, I would. And the love of something, and can raise the vibration of things. And unfortunately, love, even though love can raise the vibration of things more rapidly, it is actually the hatred of things that causes people to raise that vibration, which is messed up. And the way I mean that is the example of my when I was a personal trainer, right? I had clients. This one client, especially, it's a perfect example. I kept firing her over and over again because she wouldn't commit to the program. And so if you didn't commit to my program, you had to go, right? So it finally, for years, she told her sons when they get tall enough, they'll be able to ride the roller coaster, the big roller coaster. And she gonna ride them with her. But they finally got tall enough. They went to Six Flags. Well, she couldn't ride the roller coaster with her son because they couldn't pull the harnesses down or pull even the ones that come forward. So she was embarrassed. She was hurt. She was humiliated. She disappointed her sons. So it was that pain that caused her to come back in and then lose the 100 pounds that she needed to lose. Right? She's like 6'2". So but she had to lose. She lost that 100 pounds. That pain made her lose. You would think that the love of her kids and the love of herself would have made her lose that weight, giving her the mental, click to go do this thing. You think that people would do things more out of love than they would out of pain, but people are more apt to do things out of pain to change their life out of pain than out of love. Initially, my reason that caused me to make money was because of the pain of being poor. But since I've transferred that over to the enjoyment and excitement of what it's like when you got some money behind you. But at first, it was the pain of poor, that pain of not having food, that pain of it's 40 degrees outside and we still got summer clothes and maybe. So pain moves people faster, but it would be great if love is a high vibrational energy. Love would move things better. You can go, but you got to be able to. You can't love it so much that it creates a negative. You get more of it, but it can create. Everything has balance. Like I told you, I don't want any. I want y'all to make money. Because even though money can't buy you happiness, as that's what they say. But if you're gonna be miserable, at least be miserable on occasions. Driving nice cars and nice things. So being a family average. You know, if you're gonna be miserable, at least be miserable, but you ain't adding on to it. Because if you're still miserable and you got money, you're just a miserable person. Right? You're just a miserable person. There are those people who will find something wrong with every situation, right? But I'm gonna tell y'all right now, money buys me a whole lot of happiness. Money buys happiness. Money bought that motorcycle ride across country, and I was happy. Even when the sandstorm was whooping my ass, even when we had high winds and we riding sideways to stay straight, even when it got cold, I was happy. So money can buy a whole lot of happiness. Say that yeah. When people start acting, it's learned behavior and it's expected behavior, right? And they emotionally get caught up and participate in it. Oh my God, dude. Momentary happiness, nah, bro. Then I go out and get me some more happiness. I go buy some more happiness. Run out of cigars, I go buy me some more cigars. I'm happy again. I'm hungry, I go buy some food. I'm happy. I want to take a trip, go take a trip. I'm happy. And life is nothing but moments. Realize that, Ryan. You wouldn't think about it in those terms. Every moment, right now is just a moment. And in 10 minutes, it'll be another moment, and you can't go back and get the moment that happens right now. Every second is a moment. Nothing but a whole bunch of moments. You can't do about the future. You can't predict the future, rather. All you can do is something right now. And in the right now, I choose to be happy. And in right now, being happy. And evidently you don't know me. And I'm not judging you. What's your name? Ryan? I'm not judging you at all. Okay, so hear me clearly. Most people say stuff like, you know, people who have to spend more time working than spend time enjoying life. and seem to struggle at ever getting past that point. They don't have to work as hard as much. And so they have to find happiness other places. And then when they see people who have happiness without having to do all the shit that they got to do, then they're like, that's temporary, that's material. You can call it what you like. The happiest times of my life have been since I left the church. And if that makes you happy, that's fine. If you having a relationship with Jesus, which I don't know how you have a relationship with an immaterial being that's you've never met, you go ahead. But if it makes you happy, be happy. But you cannot say, I'm not happy. You cannot say that mine is as much, or on this. Yours is based on a fictitious character that you have never met. And if a person bases their happiness on the joys that they have, who are you to judge a level of happiness that does mindset? That's a control person. That's controlling. I could not be happy being a Christian. I think Ryan got the quote book of Christians next to him, and he works in mysterious ways. No, that's the sad part about people who believe in religions. The universe doesn't work in a mysterious way. There's absolutely nothing mysterious about how the universe works. There's nothing mysterious about how happiness works. Like, people are mystifying happiness, right? Happiness. Look. Okay, I'm gonna give y'all a secret. Y'all ready for the secret? Y'all want the secret of happiness? I'm gonna wait for some answers on this one. Y'all want the secrets to happiness? And I can tell you right now, it doesn't involve your God. I need a whole bunch of likes on TikTok so that the TikTok trolls don't mess it up. I'm just waiting, getting some likes on TikTok for y'all want the secret to happiness. All right. Now this is gonna sound very basic, and you're gonna be like, well, I know that. Well, I know that. Well, I know that. Problem is, you don't do it. You don't do it. You got emotional blocks that keeps you from doing it. You got cultural blocks that keeps you from doing it. All right. So I'm gonna tell you secrets to being happy. Number one, figure out who you truly are. Your true self. Figure out your true self. Be honest with who you are and recognize your true self. Okay? I used to put on a polite face all the time, no matter what. Somebody say something that I found offensive, or I thought it may cause offense if I responded or something. No, I am smart. I accept that, and I revel in it. Now, I do believe in respecting people and I'm a super considerate person. Like, I'm considerate to people who don't even know I'm being considerate to them. Right? So you got to know who you are. No, fellas, ladies, because people desire connection and relationship. Know who you are sexually. Right? Know exactly who you are sexually. And I'm not talking about gender roles and all that shit. I'm getting the poom poom and the ping ping. Like, how much sex? What type of sex? that. I'm down to the basic. Know who you are sexually. Know who you are as far as entertainment. Like what kind of entertainment you like. People get mad at me because I like, some dudes mad at me because I like because I went to the Hawks game. I don't give a damn. Coach, I didn't know you would go for that kind of thing. Dude, that makes me happy. I don't give a damn what your thought processes are on them. As all the Coliseums and the mass, I'm going because it's entertaining. Right? Know who you are and accept that. Every aspect of you. It's not going to jive well with every aspect of the culture or the people that you're around. And you might like a certain thing. All right, here's one. I used to hate having this conversation in the lounge when dudes start talking about body counts, right? So then there will be women who love having sex, but yet they can't express their sexuality because body counts. I don't give a damn about a woman's body count, and a woman shouldn't give a damn either. If she's happy, be happy. I don't care if you bang 100 people. Bang 100 people. If you happy, who gives a shit about what society says? And that's the part 2. You can't give a shit about what society says about who you are. Right? As long as you're not hurting anybody else, taking away from anybody else, who gives a damn about what anybody else says? You can't care. You cannot curtail your life to fit what other people says you should fit. If I'm not around, I'm not a square, I'm not a rectangle, I'm not a triangle, I am not a geometric shape that you can put into a fucking hole. It's all crazy. And I'm going to fit wherever. So you can't care about what other people think. You know, I don't, they went, it'd be simple shit. I don't eat seafood. I don't care. Eat your damn seafood. Do what you want to do. I guess what you think about. Oh, you smoke cigars. I can't listen to you. Okay. Bye. I don't care. I'm not living my life for somebody else, because you can't live your life for somebody else. You own it for you. And when you start doing that, you stop stressing about stuff. All right. So know yourself. Don't give 2 shits about what other people think about you. Don't stress over nothing. There's nothing to stress about. Whatever you can do at any given moment, go do yourself. I got some news today. Right? It's bad news, y'all, but I got some bad news today. Right? I ain't even told Angelina yet, so she finna. Right. Wait a minute. What you say? Don't do nothing. Don't do nothing. Basically, don't do nothing you know you're not supposed to do, and do unto others as you would want done to yourself. Yeah. I ain't putting nothing in God's hand and release it to the universe. It's not about putting anything in God's hand and release it to the universe. All right. So my mechanic called me right before my motorcycle called me right before I started this live to tell me that there may be a crack in the radiator. I just fixed this bike, y'all. But because it may be a crack in the radiator, I may not be able to have the bike for next weekend when we're supposed to go to Nag's Head for a motorcycle rally. So we might just have to drive the car. Well, I ain't gonna have the money to fix it. I'm not gonna. We got the money to fix it. I'm just not gonna put the money forward to fix it because it messes up the budget, right? So most people at that point will be like, oh, well, I'm not going to go to the motorcycle rally in Nags Head. You know, damn, this bike just cost me another. I got to spend another $2,000 to fix this bike. And when I got off the phone with him, I just like, no, well, still going to go to Nags Head. We'll just be driving the car with the top down. It's not exactly a motorcycle, but we'll make it work. Still going to have fun. Still going to sit at a beach house while we're up in Nags Head. Well, technically, we're going to be in Kitty Hawk. We're still going to, sit at the beach house, enjoy the beach, enjoy the sun, enjoy the company, enjoy the motorcycle rally. Like, yeah, I wanted to ride my bike up there, but I'm not. So some people would cancel their whole trip because of that. It's one thing. I'll do something about it when I can. And that's always been the mindset. Do something about it when you can. When you can't, go enjoy yourself. When the next opportunity comes up for you to be able to do something about it, do something about it. And then go enjoy yourself. Instead of sitting around complaining and whining and all this other kind of stuff. Why let that stress affect you like that? When you stress about things, you're putting toxins in your body. Your body literally secretes toxins when you're stressing. And that is very key to being happy, is not stressing. Because if you're too busy stressing over everything, stressing over something daily, constantly, you will never find peace and happiness. So yeah, but you got a cool ass Mustang. Right. Because I bought something that was going to make me happy. When in 22, I went and bought a Mustang. I was like, that's a dark color, gray or black. And that's what I bought. Right. Where there's a will, there's a way. And that's so. Know yourself. Don't give two shits what people think about you. Right. Don't stress about anything. And then after once you know who you are and you don't really care about what other people think about you, and you're not stressing about things, figure out what life will make you happy. Imagine your life. You're never going to get the best life you can, right? And ask yourself, are you willing to go that far? And when the answer is, reel it back to the level that will make your life happy, that you're willing to put forth the energy towards. You see the trick I did right there? Little seminars. Go and put up damn up with the pictures of the mansion and put the pictures of the vacation cars and put all the money and put all this shit up, and you go and you do all that and you all excited. You got this vision board up there, and it's got all this stuff, right? And it's got this lifestyle that you got that perfect body, you got that perfect mate, and all this other kind of stuff, right? You got all that up on your vision board. Now, if you actually knew yourself, it's lagging, period, Lacey, a little bit, because the Wi-Fi is not kicking too. Actually, it's not the Wi-Fi. It's StreamYard. StreamYard is tripping. So, and I had to learn this. I realized this when I used to listen to all the people back in the late 80s, late 90s, and early 2000s, the Les Browns, the all them people. And I was like, oh yeah. And I had all my vision boards and all that shit. And then one day I had to step back. And I realized, do I have the talent to make $1 billion? I do. I have the talent to make $1 billion. This is one thing I do know. Right? But then I considered, what would I have to do? What would I have to give up to make $1 billion. And a perfect time that hit, I wasn't in the process of making $1 billion, but I was working on this contract. I'm making the most money I've ever made in my life at the time frame. Just to give you the number, that year I cleared, after taxes and everything, I cleared about $220,000. And we're talking 2002. My kids, take them nowhere, didn't go on vacations during that time frame. I was traveling so much, I was never in the house that I loved. I have always wanted this particular styled house here in Georgia, the cedarwood homes. I always wanted one of those from when I was a kid, because that's where rich folks lived when I was growing up. And I got the cedarwood home, but I was never there. And I remember I was in Salt Lake City, because it's boring as fuck in Salt Lake City. And I was just like, and Brian, you're wrong. You don't have to hurt people to become a billionaire. You don't have to hurt people. It depends on what you call hurt. Somebody gonna run out and lose their business, yeah, but I'm not doing it on purpose. You don't have to purpose. So let me rephrase. You don't have to purposely hurt people to make a billion. But anyway, I wasn't willing to put forth that type of work, the level of work, the level of time spent to make $1 billion. I'm not willing to do it. To have the big mansion, I'm not willing to put forth the work to do it. Right now, I know you said billionaire. You ain't got to hurt nobody to become a billionaire. You become a billionaire without hurting people. Now, some people you're gonna run some other people out of business, but that's just that's the natural flow of business. But anyway, so you have to be able to. Everybody has these dreams of grandeur. They have these ideas of grandeur. You would love to have and be at this level. You would love to have this body. Like, I would love to get back and have an 8-pack again. And thought about how hard did I work? How stringent on my diet was I? All the time and the energy I put into getting into that shape back in the mid 90s. Am I willing to do that now at 52? Am I willing to eat 3 hours a day, twice a day, eating the way I was eating and all back again? No, I'm not. Like, put that shit back to where the rubber meets the road, to the amount of energy you give. And when you scale back to that level, then get your ass to work. Put forth that energy consistently and continuously. Reverse engineer it and put forth the path. Then that way you're going to be happy, because you're going to have a work-life balance. When you think about how your health want to be, you get to where's the balance. Get to the point of balance. When you think about a relationship, look, in a relationship with another person, no man nor woman is ever going to make you 100%. Is going to be 100% what you want. What's the 20% that's most important? What's the 20% that you cannot have? If she don't have, or he don't have, none of the 20% that you cannot have, okay, that's you're on the right path. But then look at that 20% that you must have, and if they got that 20% you must have, you rock with the person. And you got to have balance in that, because you can't have none of that shit that I can't have. But you at least got to have this 20%, because that 20% is going to give me 80% of my happiness. That's why that 20% of the stuff you can't deal with gives you 80% of your unhappiness in that relationship. So you get the 20, the real 20. And when you got the real 20, of what makes you happy and none of the 20 that makes you unhappy, you good right there. There's always somebody prettier. There's always somebody finer, just like with you. And whoever you with, you ain't the best looking motherfucker. You ain't the funnest person that person can be with. There's always somebody got certain little traits that might be better than yours. So don't just looking for this perfection is bull. It's bull. Just have that 20% that makes me happy, and none of this 20% over here that makes me unhappy. And you good. Stop reaching, thinking as soon as I go over this hill, it's gonna be better. And you good. Those are the keys to happiness, people. It starts with knowing who you are, knowing yourself, and being honest. And that's the hardest part, is you got to be honest with yourself in order to know yourself, right? You got to be honest. Because if you can't be honest with who you are, none of it is going to work. None of it's going to work. You're not going to have good family. You're not going to have good relationships. You're not going to have good. Everything's going to be jacked up because you're going to be living a life that you think you're supposed to live, and you're going to swear up and down that that's the real. It's not. It's just not. And it's like I said, it's very basic to how to be happy, but it ain't easy to do. That's why most people are not happy, or they're not as happy as they could be. Like I and I know the Muslims don't want to pray 5 times a day. They're praying. They don't want that, but they do it because they've been trained that this is how you pay homage to this deity. Different denominations in every religion, all of them teaching something different, and you got a bunch of people who are not happy in any of them, but they lie to themselves. They lie to themselves. And I was right. Religion was one of the biggest steps towards me being happy. Uh, I never want to get up on Sunday and go to church. At no point in my life I was like, "Ooh, it's Sunday. I'm gonna go to church. Ooh, it's Wednesday. I'm gonna go to Bible study." Well, actually, there was one little slight period of time where I did like going to Bible study at this one church because me and the pastor would get deep into some stuff. Like after he talked the bullshit to everybody else, me and him would get deep into stuff. So I was kind of excited about him for about 6 months, but that was the only time frame. But ooh, it's Saturday. It's the real day of worship. I'm going on Saturday. I'm excited. I want to wake up. Hell no. Never. And I never want to give my money. Ooh, let me get my money. Oh, see you later, Pastor. You have a good day. Your house that sits on the lake, and you got a lake and a pond on your house, and all this shit. Yeah, I'm gonna go to work and struggle like a mother. That's what most people in religion do. Hey, pastors, deacons, I'm giving y'all getting all this good money while I'm going. I'm gonna go and flip these burgers. My health is so bad because I'm eating all this processed food because they made it with processed food is cheaper to buy than real food. Yeah, but I'm gonna give you all my money. Mm-mm. I remember asking the Muslim dude when I was in uh, Bahrain. And he got down. It was one of the times it was time to pray, little thing. Came over the little speaker and everything. And unfortunately, where he was at, it was on the docks and it was concrete. This is just hard concrete. Dude got down, he prayed, he was down there, I don't know, 5 minutes or so. He got up. When he got up, and I asked him, I said, look, I'm gonna ask you something in private. I said, you can be honest, be honest. I said, I know he was an older guy too. I said, I know you just got down there and prayed, and I know that was it hurt. At any point were you enjoying your prayer? And at first he gave him the bullshit of, oh yes, 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 Allah and all this stuff. I said, no. When you was down there praying, what was going on in your mind? And he was like, he looked around and he was like, my knees were hurting, my back was hurting. I was like praying that I can stay in this position. And I was just like, so you really didn't want to do it. You really didn't like it. And this man is doing this 5 times a day while he's working on the docks. Did you know that Islam has the biggest scam in all? What is the scam? What is the scam? Who cuts their grass at 2:47 in the afternoon? It's too hot. He don't ride no more though. But all these religions are a scam. If it is a religion, it is a scam. Pretty much how I view that. Every last one of them are scams. You scamming the people out of their money. You scamming the people out of their life, which is the most important part to me. Is you're scamming people out of the joy of life that they could have. But instead, you have put them in a system of control to shut them down and be little puppets, and you're the puppeteer. Couldn't do it. And the false hope. This is the worst part of the scam to me. Where was that at? What Sheila said. It is the false hope that you give people. See, this is one reason why when people ask me about, well, what God do you follow and do you believe in God and all this kind of stuff, and I say that the closest thing to a God that I would follow is the Hermetic understanding of the all, because there's nothing mysterious about the all. There's nothing false hope. There's no false hope with the all, right? It just, the universe just is, and the universe just functions the way it functions, right? If you do not put forth energy to, if you don't have a mental, first of all, you don't have the mental capability to envision or create, and then put forth and be honest about the pole that you're dealing with, and then put forth the energy to move your vibration to where you desire to be and how you desire to be, then you're not going to get there. But if you do everything, you will eventually get there. There's no false hope. And there's no false hope of, am I going to go to heaven or hell? All instances of what we call life are mental manifestations. So you decide, you create heaven, hell, and anything else. Let me see what my man said here. The scam is since before Islam, during even during the pre-Islamic pagan Islam, the Haji is the Hajj is the scam. Every Muslim must in the entire world must go to Saudi Arabia for pilgrimage to give them their money. And here's the kicker: even if your parents didn't go, you should go for your parents. Think about how much money Saudi Arabia royals make. Okay, I'm with you on that one. And I gotta tell y'all, when I went to Mecca, it was just hundreds of thousands of pilgrims there throwing rocks at that other rock. And it is a big scam. Just like tourism in Israel is a huge scam. That's right. But the universe is mental, all is mind. There is no false hope in understanding life and existence when you know the law of correspondence and the law of mentalism work hand in hand. If you, the only reason that for me there will be an afterlife because I want to create one is the idea. If you want to create a hell for yourself, go ahead and create that hell. If you believe that Jesus is going to pave your way, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if people say, if somebody who truly believes, because I don't think that most of the people who are in Christianity believe Christianity, but somebody who truly believe will probably, when they die, manifest them standing in a line at a pearly gate, and some dude named Peter and Gabriel is standing there, and the angel Gabriel is standing there with a book, letting people in and checking off, and then seeing some people going to hell and some people going in the gates. I wouldn't be surprised if they create that manifestation. But I guarantee that the overwhelming majority of Christians don't even believe that. I guarantee every Christian has doubts. If Christians didn't have doubt, there wouldn't be all these denominations. There wouldn't be those differences. And as much as they may talk about it, they are having doubts about, is the Jehovah's Witness right? Is the Mormons right? Are the Catholics right? Are the AME? Are the evangelicals right? Are the Baptists right? I guarantee there's some doubts in their programming. If you don't follow a religion, how do you contact God? You can't. If there is a God, if there is the all, that God, the all, is unknowable and undefinable. Because you cannot know it, nor can you define it, you cannot have relationship with nor contact it. The closest you can get is what I said about how to become happy. The first rule, first thing to do is to know yourself. Your knowledge of self is the closest you can ever get to contacting a God or having a relationship with God. Right. And Trauma said, if you're believing, you're doubting because you're believing without any facts. And so you're just making shit up. I'm not. See, human, you about to get in that category with Trauma now. I'm thinking about coming to male prostitute side hustle. What you think? Hey, if you can get away with it, man, if you can do it and get customers and you happy and you don't care what other people think about it, go do you. Go do you. If somebody chooses to be a male prostitute, I ain't got no problem with it. I ain't got no problem with it. Do your thing, bro. But all these people, why do people want to contact God? Let's think about this for a second. Why do people want to contact God? They want to contact God because they have doubts that God exists. But if they can actually contact this God, that would give them confirmation that their God exists. But in truth, when they say that I talked to God, I met God, your ass had a dream that your mind created. Your ass was praying and you emotionally got caught up and your mind created it. You ain't contacting no damn body. You manifested it yourself because you desire to have confirmation for yourself, which means you have doubts about your belief. What do you think about Dr. Malachi York? I think he's a scumbag. I mean, from my understanding, he was found guilty, right? So if he molested those young girls and took advantage of them young girls, scumbag. From the compound that he had here in Georgia, I went there once, and I've talked to a bunch of people who stayed there, and he was a mind controller. So no. About righteousness because in the Bible and life there is such things as a righteous skill and so wealth having a basic necessity. On the other hand, we have the day's matrix. Not exactly sure everything you're saying there, buddy. If you're killing a righteous kill, you're hunting deer to feed your family. Okay, I'm going to kill this other person over there because they're from a different tribe. They don't believe what I believe. They're from a different, they are a different color. There is nothing righteous about it. They don't believe in my God, so I'm going to kill them. There's nothing righteous about that. You're trying to kill me, but I kill you. Okay, self-defense. But killing another person, other than in self-defense, there is no righteousness in it. Well, let me expand that. Self-defense and defense of others. Beyond that, there's no righteousness in it. What's going on in Israel is not righteous. What went on in, or going on in, what is that place? Where did Russia invade? That's not righteous. There is no righteous kills when we just trying to take your shit for resources, or you're a different color than we are, or you believe in God differently than we do. There's absolutely nothing righteous about that. Thank you, Ukraine. I'm not at home, so the coffee, my brother's coffee maker be leaving grains and stuff in it. But there's nothing righteous about that. There's no righteous kill beyond self-defense. Right. That always cracked me up, like especially when you see some of these Israel supporters. Oh, the sanctity of life is so important. It's so important, but we need to kill all the Palestinians. Oh, and you shouldn't be able to abort babies. Oh, damn, my daughter's 16. She got pregnant. Let me take her to have an abortion. All that bullshit. Oh, you were saying that at one time wealth was basically having more than you need beyond your basic necessities. No, and I agree with you on that one. That's why I say everybody has to determine what their level of wealth is. Yeah. If, like, right now in my life, I'm wealthier than most people. Well, no, I can't say most people. There's a lot of people who have way more money than me, but I'm wealthier. Um, I just did one of my guys' taxes, right? That's why we didn't have the live on the 15th. When I said that something came up, and I appreciate you guys for worrying about me, was like, well, for being concerned and saying that I hope everything's all right. I'm sure everything's okay. I appreciate all that. It took so much longer to finish his taxes because he had a whole bunch of new shit that we never developed, and he never told me about these new things that were happening. So I got to, instead of figuring it out earlier in the year, I had to figure it all out. He probably what I made, but I will tell you my zero time. I won. On a scale of 0 to 10, he got 1. He made about the same that year too. So we both in the industry. I'm not doing this contract again because I have no time to spend with my family. I'm not doing it. I don't see my kids. Nothing. But say I'm wealthier than him, even though he has way more money than me. What is the purpose of money if we live on a floating rock that gives us everything that we need? It depends on how you choose to live your life. You can choose to live your life off the grid, and then you wouldn't need money to a certain extent, but you're still going to need some money because of the society that we live in. But I'm sure that there is some place that you can probably go live and not ever need money. But in most places in the world, you're going to need money at some point. Even if you were to go buy a piece of land in America and you had a well, you got windmills, you got solar power. You first you got to buy the land. Then every year you got to pay taxes on it. You still gonna need some money. We are beyond the time frame of just bartering. You gonna need some money. I don't know who this guy is, but you're saying a whole bunch of stuff just for your knowledge. We most of us don't read the long ass comments. No, I'm not restarting the StreamYard. We're already 2 hours in. Why? Why would there be a cap on how much money an individual can have? If you did that, you would invite corruption, more corruption than we already have. In China, they have a cap on how much money Chinese billionaires and millionaires can convert into other forms of cash because they're trying to make them spend their money in China. But all it does is create rat holes that they then put their money in to try to avoid that situation. Just like in America with certain taxations that we have, rich people put their money in rat holes that other people aren't able to do so that they don't have to pay as much in taxes on it. Uh-uh. You don't stop people from being able to make as much money as they can. See, you wouldn't say that if you was up there making that. If you see, that's one of them things. If my man was up there and let's say something and he got the right people and got the invention out and had mass, it went viral. And all of a sudden, I mean, he's like the boys at Facebook. They went from little college kids to instant millionaires, now to billionaires. If he did something that worked in his favor like that, he wouldn't be saying shit about no cap. He ain't gonna be saying nothing about a cap, bro. We say that kind of stuff when we ain't doing it. Like I have a, so I'm gonna go ahead and tell you. To me, this is $1 billion idea. Although I'm never gonna do it. I'm never gonna do it. I just have to admit to myself I'm never gonna do it because I know at this junction of my life I'm not willing to put in the time and effort to do it. Right. So some years ago, I came up with this platform of an idea where it's called. I wanted to call it one or staycation. So basically, it works like this. So if y'all want to do this, you can. You know, if you want to slide a brother some money later on for creating the idea, I don't mind. But I'm probably never going to do this. Right? Unless I win the lottery and I got hundreds of millions of dollars so I can pay other people to do all the work, I'm never going to do it. So it goes like this. And you guys tell me what you think, because maybe it's just $1 billion idea in my mind. So create a social media platform, kind of like it's a Facebook. It's kind of like, so I want you to think about Facebook and Craigslist at the same time, okay? Just get that in your brain. So you go into the platform, you create a profile like you do on Facebook. On the profile, you list the different activities and things you like to do, right? Hotels you like to stay in, places you like to stay in, things, activities, concerts, river rafting, all that shit that you like doing. You put that on your profile. Now, from your profile, you have access to, because it's based on staycations and one tank trips. But in your profile, you can click on a city. It lists all the cities that are one tank of gas away from wherever you live. Right? Now, you can click on this when it gets a little Craigslist like. You click on a city, like I'm in Atlanta, one tank of gas, I can go to Nashville, I think, or Chattanooga. I can go to Chattanooga on one tank of gas. I click on Chattanooga. I got a tab for all the hotels or places to stay. I got activities. I got all this stuff that automatically fills in. It tells me every place in and around Chattanooga that does all the shits that I want. And then I can click on them and I can go investigate, and then I can schedule reservations and all these other things through that process of being able to take this one tank trip, this one tank vacation. The way it will make money is that once it has enough people profiles on there, you charge companies. Now, first it's just listing those companies, the companies, the places, and all that. You can charge companies to make their listing where they can put sales and all that kind of stuff in there, or put information about their stuff. It also, you can charge companies to be able to send out a monthly newsletter to people whose interest aligns with their type of business, if the people opt to allow that, right? But they only get one a month that they can send out, because you don't want to hit the people too much. So basically, it's just a platform where you can, and I would have think that AAA or somebody would have come up with this by now, but they haven't. And it'll be all kind of cities that are one tank away. Like imagine during COVID would have been a great time for that to come out, because people were looking for short little things they can go do. And there are so many things in and around from where you are that's one tank of gas that most people don't even know that they can go and do it. Like there are small towns that got something. Like where we live in Wilmington, there's a town that has the world's largest frying pan. I'm the type of person who would go and see the world's largest frying pan just to go see it. We went to a winery that was one tank of gas, one tank away. You know what I'm saying? So that's the idea that I think, if done correctly, marketed correctly, would be Facebook level and can make $1 billion. If you got 1% of all the hotels, inns, restaurants, outdoor activity, indoor activities, just 1% around America to just do that, just to pay $50 to have the benefit of being able to put a text bar in there and be able to change that text bar so that the people can click on it. Just 1%. You're making hundreds of millions of dollars with just 1% of across America. Now, if y'all think that idea sucks, just let me know it sucks. I have yet to have somebody tell me that it sucks, but if y'all think it sucks, but I haven't told many people that because I was like, nah, I got to keep this one close. So you're gonna do the computer program and slide me a couple of million if it works out. Hey, do that thing. And when you think about something like that worldwide, man, what Facebook is a $1 billion company, but only has about what 500 million people are on it. You ain't got to have a big, large percentage of the people on the damn thing. Who thinks that's a good idea? Who thinks that's a good idea? But then, like I said, I know me now at this stage of my life. If I had come up with that, I actually did. I came up with that idea back in 1998. But back in 1998, the computer technology at the time, it would have been very, it wasn't within my price range to be able to do it. It's a lot cheaper to do that now than it was in 1998 when comparing amounts of money. So if you want to run with it, go ahead and run with it. Just slide a brother some money once it start getting big. I will bring this video up. Be like, see, I told him. Malcolm said it'll take some work, but it's a good idea. Yeah, I got another one that I'm holding on to. And one that I actually may want to do, and it's more altruistic as to why I want to do that one, not so much about making money. But I got another one. I'm gonna keep that one to me with me. All right, Brian. Peace out, bro. And see, that's what I mean by understanding who you are, and that's how you find your happiness. Back when I was in IT, back in the early 2000, late 90s, early 2000s, if I had just enough money to get started, I would have put in all the hours it would have taken to do that. But after that experience of working that Boeing contract and seeing what it's like to work the hours that I was working, I'm not willing to do that. Yeah, my other plan, Lacey, I will not share it with anybody because I still want to do that one. But that plan, I don't mind sharing that one because I'm never going to do it. It's unlikely that I would do it. I would have to make a couple 10, 15 million over here doing something that I don't mind doing to be able to make sure I can just pay people to do that one. I can add to your happiness, but it may not, but it's not my job to make you happy. Yeah, that is so true. Like Angelina adds to my happiness, but it is not her job to make me happy. I add to her happiness, but it's not my job to make her happy. I'm damn good at it though. I gotta say that. She would be a miserable person if I wasn't in her life. She would probably just be sitting in a corner, crying in the darkness with a Linus blanket, shivering and shaking if she didn't have me in her life. I'll just play. But no, that's all you can ever expect to do or expect somebody else to do is to add to your happiness. No one's going to make you happy, but they can just add to it. And if you put the wrong people in your life, they will certainly take it away from you. You know what? Let me add one more thing to what makes how to be happy in life. Kenny Rogers. I think it's Kenny Rogers, but Kenny Rogers, the gambler. You got to know when to hold them. You got to know when to fold them. You got to know when to walk away. You got to know when to run. Don't ever count your money while you're sitting at the table. There'll be plenty of time for counting. Dealing's done. So you got to know when to let people go out of your life. You got to know when to let situations go out of your life. And don't be sitting in front of everybody counting your money. Nah. You go do this shit in private. You go do that when everything's over. You count the costs and you count the profit when it's all over. And then you decide whether you want to get back on the table. I don't know if I told y'all, but when we was in Vegas, I've never lost at the casino, but I made $2,000, right under $2,000 at the craps table. Some people would have sat there and kept on gambling. I collected my chips and I left. Me and my $2,000 and we left. I had an idea for Dorito flavored popcorn. Already been done, guy. Already been done. You know I used to own a popcorn shop. Oh no, man. No, sir, Michael. I like casinos because I know how to walk away. I know how to get up to the table with my $1,000, and then once I make 2,000, I'm done. Or sometimes not even before the 2,000. Actually, the first time I stepped to the table, it took after about an hour and a half. I only made $300, and I was like, okay, this table ain't right, so I left. And it was like the next night I came back, and that's when I made the other like $1,600, and I left. Because you gotta know when to hold them. Yep. You don't be ready. But you gotta treat people that way too. You treat people the same way. That you know you shouldn't be dealing with. And you gotta know to walk away from them people. You can walk away from sometimes the greatest love and respect you can show someone is to leave them the hell alone. Go look at the people who you surround yourself with and qualify them. Do I really need to have this person in my life? Is this person more of a benefit or a detriment to my life? If when you count up the costs at the end of when you walk away from, I'm preaching now. When you count the cost when you walk away from the table, from the book of Rogers, chapter 3, verse 16. You gotta walk away. You count the cost of the people, and you have to decide at that moment: are they worth the value in your life? Are they bringing goodness in your life? Are they an asset, as Brother Trauma just said, or are they a liability? And if they are more of a liability than they are an asset, then it is time to walk away, cut them loose. It's time to let them go. Don't hold them no more. But the tighter and tighter you hold on to them, the more they become a liability to you. And if it goes too long of them being a liability to you, then you find your deep hole that's hard to climb out. You get discouraged trying to climb out. Every time you pull, you feel the weight back. You gotta take them off your back so you can. Okay, that's what I like about it. you got to let them go. You got to let people go. All right. There are people. There were people in my life that so one of the things that had me in a depression for about 5 years is that when I got divorced from my kid's mother, yeah, not being in the house with my kids every day created a huge depression. But I had spent so much time with her family. Her brother was my best friend before me and her ever even started dating. To lose him hurt me so bad. I was in depression for 5 years. And I was only in that depression because even though I wasn't seeing him, wasn't talking to him, I was still holding on to the energy of him, holding on to the idea of him. And I was depressed. It took me about 5 years to let that go. You understand? And he done gone on. I don't know if he suffered. I don't know if he felt any kind of way. I don't know if he was depressed. I have no idea. But I know I was holding on to it because as much as my brother, my blood brother, is my brother, as much as David is my brother, Russell was my brother. David was my big brother. And because Russell was about 5 months younger than me, he was my little brother. That was my brother. And I was depressed. And then I read the book of Rogers. You gotta know when to hold them. You gotta know when to fold them. And I finally just had to just come to terms with myself with that relationship that people are not going to be in your life your whole life. That some people just aren't. And that I needed to change my focus to the people who were still my friends, regardless of that event happening. Brandon was still my friend, regardless of that happening. Troy was still my friend, regardless of that happening. And so I focused on those people and developing those relationships more because they were with me no matter what, as far as that situation goes. Those people who, even some who were just friends, like Chris, Chris kind of let me go. Adam kind of let me go because their wives were upset about it. They got to take care of their house. So if that's their choice, I understand. It's not the kind of person I am. Just because my wife would be like, "Oh, I don't like him," I would just that's it. That doesn't change how he is towards us. But hey, it was what it was. All right, Mahendra, appreciate you. Grand Rising Texas Goddess. I'm pretty sure we'll be coming through Dallas again. But I had to learn that you have to sometimes people have to be released out of your life. You gotta let them go. It was good while it lasted. That's why I don't hold any malice towards anybody that's in my past that either let me go or I let them go. Right? There are let's say every woman I ever dated was just to come around the corner of this house right now. Right? You would be amazed at my reaction. My reaction would be like, "Hey, how y'all doing? Happy to see you." Because I hold no malice. I'm good. It's like, okay, we had our time. It is what it is. It happened how it happened. Why am I still angry? Why would I be angry with you? Why would I still be holding on to some frustration about you? You're not in my life right now. Not in my life right now. You only impact me if I allow you to. So why should I be angry? Now, if they out there trying to disparage my character and I know about it, I'll respond to it, but I'm not gonna be angry. I'm not gonna be mad. Like, oh, there goes such and such. She did this. Oh, there goes such and such. She did this. There goes such and such. She did. Ah, hey. In fact, I hope that they are all having great lives. So, no. So you got to let that shit go. Remember when I said that in order to be happy in life, you got to let go of stress? Holding on to what people did to you in past relationship. No, you let that shit go. This is why, like I tell Angelina, I like to minimize how much when we're talking about our past, talking about talking about stories or places we've been and all that. I minimize how much I incorporate the other people who may have been involved in that story. Unless it's pertinent to the story, I don't mention the other person. Because why am I talking about an ex to the woman that I'm with now? Why? Like me and Angie was doing this thing the other night. Actually, and this is, we find stuff that y'all might think is stupid to be fun. We were rating cities as, especially coming off of this cross country trip, we were rating cities as whether they live up the hype or people missing out. You know what I'm saying? So like Tucson, Arizona, people missing out. LA, overhyped. You see what I'm saying? Oh, there was another category. It's overhyped, or it depends on what you make it. New York depends on what you make it. Atlanta depends on what you make it. Miami, overhyped. Unless you got money, then Miami is about right. So, we were just breaking cities down like that. So she's been to a lot of those cities with exes. I've been to a lot of cities with exes. When we're telling stories about those cities, I can tell the story about being in that city without incorporating, and me and her went here, and me and her, and me and her, and me and her. Why do we need to add the exes into the story? Don't talk about the ex. Let that shit go. Right? We don't need to hear about your ex. You don't want to hear about mine. Let them shits go. You can tell a story without them being involved, unless it's pertinent to the story to get the point across. Because why do I need to talk about exes? They're not in my life no more. They're not in your life no more. And personally, I know I don't want to hear about an ex. And I'm sure you don't want to hear about an ex either. So just let that go. Because whether a person realizes it or not, if they hear you telling stories about an ex too much, it's going to create frustration and irritation with them. Like, why you got to tell everything? I know you went here and you was with an ex based on the time frame that you're telling me that you went there. I don't need to know about their parts of the story that's not really pertinent to it. If we're talking about how good the food was in Rome, I don't need you to tell me, or I don't need to tell you that, yeah, I discovered this food, and because me and this ex, we was at such and such restaurant. No, I went to this restaurant in Italy, in Naples, Italy, and they had their own winery, and the Lambrusco that they make at this restaurant is phenomenal. I don't need to incorporate if somebody was there with me. That's not pertinent to the point of the story. Right. They're going to think you still want to be with them. And when I go out with a gentleman for the first time, why discuss exes? I don't want to hear about an ex. What does that have to do with two of us? Exactly. And even after the first time, it's 10 years down the line. I still don't want to hear about no damn exes. Care nothing about your ex. If you talk about your ex, and Trauma's right, if a person talks about their ex too damn much, they want that ex. There's something that's still holding them, whether it's love or anger. Love or anger is still holding them to that ex. And if you got love or anger that you're still holding on to for an ex, I really don't want to deal with you, because you're too preoccupied somewhere in the depths of your mind about that ex. And that's going to interfere with why I'm saying You got to be a little selfish if you want to be happy, because I'm not going to let you be around me if you're interfering with my happiness. You know, yeah. Says like it's like they're comparing them to you. Yeah, and even that way. That way. Imagine this. Imagine if you got a woman and she's always talking about an ex, and she's always talking about, oh, we traveled here, and we traveled there, and we traveled, 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 and we traveled. You don't start thinking, well, damn, how much do we travel? I got a guy in travel. You know, I literally had an ex who said to me, anywhere that I've ever been with another woman. You're saying this to me when I'm in my late 40s. And I've been in the Marine Corps. I traveled extensively then. I've traveled extensively since. And I told her, we ain't going no damn well. You got a better bet at asking me where have I not been than to asking me about, well, can we go to, let's go to Chattanooga. Nope. Let's go to Memphis. Nope. Let's go to Dallas. Nope. Let's go to San Antonio. Nope. Let's go to LA. Nope. Let's go to New York. Nope. Let's go to London. Nope. Let's go to Paris. Nope. Let's go to Rome. Nope. It's going to be nope, 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 nope. And it was. I literally went through that process. It was like, no, 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 no. I said, how about I just tell you where I haven't been with somebody? That's why we went up to Augusta. Ooh, Augusta, Georgia. And it wasn't even the Masters. You know, it's dumb. Living in Atlanta. Oh, I want to go to this restaurant. Nope. Can't we go? Based on your criteria. Nope. Well, let's go to this restaurant. Nope. You better go find brand new restaurants that's only been open for the last year. Like, that's stupid. Look at how much you are. When a person does something like that, you are effectively shutting down how many experiences you can now have with that person. Because if you're going to go to the restaurant, all you're thinking about is like, I wonder how was his time here when he was here with such and such. It's stupid. It's stupid. Fireback. I've been thinking about doing this, having a day where we do call, like kind of like a call-in show where people can just come on and we discuss whatever we're discussing. Do you just ghost people? Some of it depends on how their attitude. I've only ghosted one person really, but for the most part, it was like I explained to him, "Hey, this is why I can't deal with you no more," and they lost it today. And some of them go to and we can change this. We can work on. Now we've already been working on it because I've already talked to you about it like 4 or 5 times. Tell them I'm having the problem. I'm not going to let it sit there. I start telling you, I got a problem. This ain't working. This you was like this when we first started. Now you done changed up on me, or just whatever the situation is. And if they don't want to make adjustments, that's fine. Okay, I'm not forcing you to make an adjustment, but I have to make an adjustment now. But no, I just tell them. And they don't like, because I don't want a person wondering why. That's a part of my consideration for people. I want you to know this is why. You know, actually, me and my brother was talking about this the other day. Well, not the other day, last night. There's a certain way I do money. I don't like having. I know that I recognize that money and sex are two of the biggest things that end relationships. So monetarily, I have a system to eliminate arguments about money. If you are on the subscription of Facebook, and I know I don't do a lot of videos for the subscription people, I'm gonna get better. I gave my whole monetary plan of how I do money. If a person doesn't want to do money this way with me, we can't be together. And there was a young lady who was just adamant about not doing it. And then even when she seeked advice from other women, thinking that I was wrong, and I said, okay, I normally don't care what other people think, but I'm gonna let you ask these other women and see what they think. And those other women was like, oh, hell no, girl, you better do that thing. And she was still like, hell, she didn't want to do it. I told her this ain't gonna work. And this is why, plus a couple other things, but this is why. Because I'm not having arguments about money. I'm never gonna have arguments about money. This is why when we get together, I'm gonna tell you exactly what my sex preferences are and what I like, how often I like it, what type, and all the other stuff. If you can't get down with it, know your stuff enough in the very beginning to be able to say, nah, that ain't gonna work for me. Okay. We still cool, but no. Yes, London is overhyped. What are you smoking? Well, right now I'm smoking what the hell is this? Is one of the ones I got from the cigar conference. The Erez. They only make one type of cigar, just in different shapes. Yeah. So I would tell somebody straight up, this is me. See, and that's why you got to know you. If you want to be happy in life, you got to know you, and you got to be honest about who you are and be able to express that. Once you're able to do that, you can then have the right type of people in your life. And like with my son, he's up in Spokane, and he was hating it at first. He's social, but he's an anti-social. Once you're in, he's social with you. It's hard getting in with him. But I've always taught him and my girls, uh, you only allow people in your life who fit for your life, and some only fit for things, right? So you might be my person that I like to go play golf with, but that's all we do. You the person I like to sit and have a cigar with and talk about certain subjects. That's all we doing. We ain't doing everything together. There's only certain people. So when you're choosing a mate, this has got to be a person that you can do most things in your life with. But everybody ain't for everything. And when the time is up, the time is up. When he get orders to leave Spokane, hey man, you might be a long-term friend, you might not be. Out with on the street in Germany. I left Germany, kept in contact maybe a year, and that's it. So everybody ain't meant to be in every aspect of your life. And I let them know you're smoking a Zeno by David. The Zeno, the Zeno is a low cost cigar, but it's a damn good cigar. Every cigar that's good doesn't cost a bunch of money. That Zeno with some coffee is real good. Zeno with coffee. Cool. What is it? It has the I think the wrapper. I think they make that wrapper in Maduro. I know the Connecticut one. It's good. Say it took you 90 minutes to drive 2 hours to London. London, let's do trash. London is trash. You're right. Right. Scotland is underrated. Scotland is definitely underrated. Scotland is beautiful. except in the wintertime it's cold. I don't like the cold, but Scotland is underrated. Yeah, some people can't go with you. You got to leave them alone. You have to let them go. There were people that if you had seen my how I was with them, you would think that they were going to be lifelong friends. Life turns out they're not. There was a gentleman I put my entire Marine Corps career on the line for him. You think we'd have been lifelong friends, but it only went one way. I came to realize, and so they're not part of my life. They don't have the title of friend. And if you heard me talk about it before, I am very, very careful about who gets, because if I call you my friend, I'm willing to go to you to length that I may even damage myself. So I'm very cautious about who I call friend, which is why I have very few friends. I got family members who wouldn't be able to get the title friend out of me. Trust and believe. I got family members. I'd be like, I help you this much. But then one of my people I call friends, I help them that much. Yeah, StreamYard is having some connectivity issues today. I thought it was my Wi-Fi, but it's actually StreamYard. That's true. But yep. So that's how you find happiness, y'all. You got to figure it out. And I know this whole thing started about money and righteousness. The only righteousness you need to be concerned about is the righteousness to yourself. Just don't treat anybody any way that you wouldn't want to be treated. That's it. All this worshiping of a God, a deity, nobody needs to worship a God. Nobody needs to worship a deity. If a God or a deity requires worship, it is not God. So just take care of yourself. You don't want to be raped. You don't be raped, stolen from, taken advantage of. Don't do it to anybody else. That's all the righteousness that you need. Happy for you. Good question. So take about 2,000. Yeah, around 24,000, maybe a little more. Yeah, about 24,000 is the most I ever given to a friend. Yeah, 24. Yeah, 24,000 is the most I ever given to a friend. Damn, I didn't even realize that I gave him that much. But about 24,000. Now, actually, it's probably more than 4,000. It probably came to about 27. And that because, and I was giving them anywhere between $4,000 and $5,000 a month to pay for their lifestyle. So And at that time frame in my life, that wasn't a whole lot of money to me. Um, I was bringing home about 15 a month, so it was fine. And that was in the early 2000s. You and me both. If he was vengeful, why hasn't he killed me yet? Because I talk a lot of shit about him too. Because he ain't real. Yeah, it was some money. He said it's more than you get in a year on Social Security. Yeah, you say 500 or 600 a month will pay your mortgage. I mean, their mortgage was somewhere around in that amount. So I was paying for their mortgage, their cars, all their insurance, their food. I wanted to, so I gave them some play money, uh, money for the kids. So it was about $4,000 to $5,000 a month. Um, he's supposed to be going. His wife had stopped born when she was born. So the doctor broke her clavicle, and so she stayed home with the baby. And he was supposed to be going to school, but he was taking too damn long. I got all my IT certification in 6 months just to get an A+ certification. So after a while, and actually, if somebody hadn't told me I was in and enabled it to them, I probably would have given them more money. So they they had two cars that had car notes, so I was paying for both of the cars, and it was a new house, so the house wasn't a small mortgage, but it was fine. And I have no regrets about it. At that time frame, they were my friend. If a person gets that to that level with me, I do that. And like my brother could call me, and if I got it, he can have it. Right? If I got it, my brother can have it. There's some other family members, they call me, nah, they can't have it. If Brandon called me, and see, I know Brandon don't watch this, and I know my brother don't watch this, so I can say it. If Brandon or Troy call me, if I got it, they can have it. So, but you got to get to that level. We got to have some experiences together. We got to get to know each other. I got to be so trusting of you that I don't mind you around my kids. I don't mind you around Angelina. It take a whole lot of trust to get there, right? But if you can get there with somebody, it's a great thing. It's a great thing to have. That like cross country trip incorporated going to getting there for his birthday and spending time with. That's why my trip to Seattle, I'm changing a certain aspect of it because Troy informed me that he won't be in Charlotte. He gets back to Charlotte the day that I'm supposed to leave Charlotte. So now I'm gonna stay an extra day in Charlotte so I can see Troy and my goddaughter. So friends, I will make adjustments. I would have went a week without seeing Angelina, but I'll give an extra day just to make sure I see Troy and see my goddaughter. So it takes a lot. And sometimes you never know when it's going to happen. It's like we're here now, and we're in Georgia, and while we're here, I will I will move heaven and earth to make sure we go see Kevin. For those of you who know who Kevin is, we're gonna go see Kevin because Kevin, we're still developing, still building, and that's what I mean by it takes time to build. Even though I knew Kevin as far as being online, we were never spending that much time together during that time frame, or we weren't on the phone as much. But then as he went through some things, we started spending that time. So then we started developing that friendship. I know the Self and Prima on YouTube is having all kind of conversations. Yeah, Kevin Wesley. Yeah, Kevin Wesley and my new godson, Samik. Because last time we was in Georgia, we didn't get a chance to go up there. We didn't take the opportunity to go up there. Although he's close to Atlanta, in hour and a half ride, considering going through the city of Atlanta. But so Cat is like right there. We're progressing in friendship. I would call him a friend right now. You know, he's not, and there's no slight on him. He's not at Troy and Brandon level, but he's in the category. He's in the zone. Frank, I'll be honest with you, and this is what I keep telling people all the time. You got to watch the videos. You got to watch the lives. Because like some young lady in the UK wanted me to message her when I did a live, and I was like, I get a lot of those messages. I wouldn't remember, right? So what you got to do is watch the lives, and then that way, if we're close, we can make it work. So you got to watch. Because I'll be sitting there like, who said they was in San Fernando Valley? Who that? I can't remember who that is. Who that is? Where is San Fernando Valley? What is that near? What city is that near? So just like yeah, and I love to burn one with you. Just like we did with Isaac and his wife in San Antonio. He paid attention to the lives. He knew that we was to the videos. And then when he said, I tell you, we told him we was gonna be in San Antonio, he was there. See, I don't me Frank, but we just did a cross country road trip. We spent 4 days in LA. We spent a lot of time at King Cigar Lounge downtown LA, and we also went to a cigar lounge. I believe it was in San Bernardino for the other cigar lounge, but most of the time we went to the King Cigar Lounge downtown LA. Now, LA is what you make it, but it's overrated. So I don't know when next time we'll be in LA. Oh, Lacey, you're in San Fernando Valley as well. Oh, cool. Cool. Oh, you know Kings? Yeah. Wait a minute, Lacey, you just I'm I'm, I'm confused now. Up here, you said I live in SFV, which I thought was San Fernando Valley. But then down here, you say if you make it to Kansas City, Missouri, we should link up. And I can take you guys to the Jazz District. Um, well, Angie won't be with me. But I think, do we stop? In July, I know me and my brother are riding to Seattle and then we're coming back. I don't know if we stop in Kansas City. Either we stopping in Kansas City or we're stopping in St. Louis. We're stopping in one of those cities on the way back. So in August, early August, we'll be in either Kansas City or uh, St. Louis. Oh, autocorrect got you. I can't check it right now because my phone is is on the TikTok. But we'll be in one of those. It's either Kansas City or it's St. Louis. I want to say it's St. Louis. I believe it's St. Louis that we'll be stopping in, and we're just passing through Kansas City. I try to let people know where we are. And we'll be here in Atlanta until we're going to Carolina Beach and going to spend a week staying at the beach, and then go up to Kitty Hawk for this motorcycle rally with no motorcycle. He said, fix the radiator, cost that much. Change the tire. I'll talk to Angelina about that though. See if we're willing to. We could. I do get paid. Anyway, I just did some financial gymnastics in my mind about getting this bike fixed now instead of later. Zimbabwe. Is that where are we going? Hey, big monarch butterfly. I think in 2025 we're going to Zambia. My nephew's getting married in Zambia. I'm pretty sure it's Zambia in 2025, in late spring of 2025. Yeah, I think that's late spring of 2025. I'm supposed to go to Zambia for my nephew's wedding. I had to let you know about Zimbabwe. Got a question for you though about Zimbabwe. Do they still have that program running in Zimbabwe? And everybody need to hear this. There was a program that was running in Zimbabwe where if you were willing to work with the local chieftain to work the land, that they would give you land to grow products. Right now, one of the number one products grown in Zimbabwe is tobacco, but it's cigarette tobacco. More than 31% of that is purchased by China. So it's a good industry to get into there. Of course, I would go there and grow cigar tobacco instead of growing cigarette tobacco. There is a difference. Get me some Cuban seeds, go to Zimbabwe. Pow. Do they still have that program in Zimbabwe where they're giving you the land as long as you're willing to work with the local tribes that own that land? Let me know. That way I ain't got to look it up. Hell no. I would not. I don't know. I ride a Goldwing, but a lady sideswiped us in San Diego and the bike fell over. I thought I thought the mirror and probably the frame was bent a little bit, but he called me today and told me that the radiator might be cracked. So now he's talking about fixing the radiator, fixing the bar. So no, no, right, no damn Harley. They too loud, and a Gold Wing is much more. The seeds, there's a different type seed that's used to grow cigar tobacco. It's still tobacco seeds, but it's just a slight different seed. And cigar tobacco, you harvest it early and you spray it in its growth with a whole bunch of chemicals. This is why people get cancer from smoking cigarettes, because they're inhaling all those chemicals into their lungs. You don't inhale cigars, but all those chemicals that are going into their lungs is what's creating the cancer. And cigar tobacco is just a higher quality seed and higher quality tobacco. I hear Zambia real nice. Right, is right. It's real thing, and it's a wholly different process. Actually, if we just got the radiator fixed, change the tire, did the oil change. I call my fix the radiator. See, it's not that we can't get it fixed. It's just that there's a certain amount of money I'm trying to put into an S&P every month, and that may interfere with putting that money in the S&P every month, because over the next 25 to 30 years, I want to put a certain amount of money into S&P. For the people who are on the subscriptions or the memberships, I told y'all about doing that and gave you how those numbers work themselves out. So hopefully y'all started doing it. Like my son right now is putting $400 a month into an S&P fund. Now, if he just keeps it at $400 a month, by the time he's 50, it'll only be around $800,000. But if he increases that, gets it up, putting at least $1,000 a month into an S&P, by the time he's 50, it'll be more around $6-7 million. The average interest gain of 10%, you can accumulate over a 20 to 30 year period a large sum of money for your retirement. Well, for your old age. If you wait till you 80 to retire, you got a problem. You're on the wrong track. You're on the wrong track. I'm in now, but you're on the wrong track if you can't retire till you're 80. And I want my children to have I wish I had been taught those lessons when I was younger. If I had been taught those lessons when I was younger, I would have been, um, shit, at 50, I would have retired. I've been completely retired. Does that money get taxed? Yes. Yes. You'll get taxed, but you only get taxed on what you take out. So let's say I don't know how you relate, but let's say you do it for 30 years. You, you're still earning 10% per annual. And then, right? So that 10% of 6 million is what, 600,000. And I say only getting taxed is roughly about roughly about like 120,000, something like that, 110,000 that you're going to be tested. But then if you go some other vehicles to put even that money, you can save on the taxes as well. I am not a financial planner. Let me put that little caveat in there. Okay, we're gonna learn something. Most of the land owned by the B, as far as I know, the locals don't own much land. It's mostly British owned company, but I might be wrong. Okay. You know, the Cameroon leaf is one of the most sought after leaf tobacco leaves out there for cigars. But when you go, but I found out recently that most of those farms that are producing Cameroon leaves are only about an acre or 2 acres big. It's just a bunch of small farms. So I don't have to have the most land. And I don't mind growing. I got this piece, let me get another piece, let me get another piece. Oh, you only heard 1%. It was just it messed up hardcore. How old are you, Lacey? That's I want to know that. But what I was saying, hopefully you're hearing everything now. What I was saying is that as far as the tax situation, uh, you're only going to be taxed on what you pull out from it. So if over the next 30 years you acquire $6 million in an S&P fund, you're only going to get taxed on that 600,000 that you would pull out if you only pulled out 10%. So that's all you're going to pay taxes on. So you're 35 now. If you start an S&P fund, put as much as you can in it every month. You want to grow how much you can put into it. You can easily find a S&P. You can find a calculator that'll show you if you put X amount in every month for this amount of time at 10% per annual. This is what it'll be at 65. Well, 30 or 35 at 70 years old over the next 30 years. If that number, let's say you're putting $1,000 a month in there, it should be in the millions. You only pay taxes on what you pull out. As long as you leave the bulk of it in there, you're good. You just pull out what you need. You figure out your budget for your life at that stage, and you only pull out what you need. You're only paying taxes on that. So you can also accumulate, well, you calculate how much your taxes are going to be so that you can pay those taxes, or have your whoever you're using take the tax out beforehand. Then if you set a few other things up, you can get most of that. You can get about a third to half of that tax money back. But it depends on how you set that up. So if you get into tobacco farm, it's easy. Yeah, that's most places. You got to grease somebody palm in something. Yeah, S and P, S and P, S. Safest investments out there for long-term investments. You don't get quick money. Yeah. You can ask your like Navy Federal have an S&P fund that I can invest in. There's also Vanguard. There's plenty of companies out there. You have to pick whichever one you want. Morgan Stanley, whoever you want to deal with. I'm not telling you who to pick. But S&P, it's a fund that spreads the money out through the top 500 companies in America, and then some win, some lose, but it averages out to a 10% gain. About a 10%. Some years it's 8%, some years it's 12%, some years it's 5%. But it averages out to about 10% gain every year. Yeah, Jaloon. It's StreamYard is having a difficult day today. But we are about to hit the 3-hour mark, and y'all know the rules. 3 hours is as long as we go. So it's been real, it's been fun. So I hope everybody understands that righteousness and wealth literally have nothing to do with each other. The fact that you can twist the Bible to teach wealth or twist the Bible to teach poverty and wealth in heaven, and the fact that both of them can be supported by the Bible just shows the contradictory nature of it. But true wealth and true happiness is all based on you. Knowledge of self, not stressing over stuff, releasing people out of your life that you don't need, knowing the balance between how much energy and work you're willing to put towards what makes you happy. But that knowledge of self is vital in order for you to do it. And it's not that hard. And who gives a shit about what other people think and what other people's levels of happiness and wealth is? The only thing that matters is what your level of wealth and happiness is. You know, if you want to be like, money doesn't make me happy, that's you. Money makes me happy as hell. The fact that I got enough money that I could literally just call it right now and say, go ahead and fix everything. I come pick it up on but just I have enough money to do it. It's just not what I want to do right now. So, you know, being semi-retired, not sitting around all day, I am happy. Money buys me a whole lot of happiness. But anyway, figure out, know yourself. You got to know yourself. Can you explain your jewelry? I like the fashion of it. It's all just fashion for me. And John Loon, hold on to that thought, because after I get off here and get me a little snack, I'm going to make about 3 or 4 videos. And one of those videos is about symbols. Okay. You may like it, you may not like it, but it's about symbols. So hold on to that thought. Give me about an hour or so to make these 3 or 4 videos and post them. And then you'll understand this jewelry. Okay. Does Zimbabwe have a reputable name in the cigar world? No, it doesn't, because most of the tobacco in Zimbabwe is not grown for cigars. That's why Cameroon is the #1 cigar leaf out of Africa, because they have dedicated cigar leaves, they have dedicated to cigar leaves. But no one in Zambia, sorry, this little spider, there's no one in Zambia that's been really pushing it. I mean, in Zimbabwe, that's been focused on cigars. And understand, growing cigar leaves is a 5-year process before you even start selling your cigars, selling your leaves. You got to grow it. Okay, let me rephrase. It's more like a 6-7 year process. You got to get the land right. Then you got to grow it. Then after you grow it and harvest it, then you got to take it through its drying process and its aging process. And depending on how you want to dry it, how you want to age it, based on the profiles you want it to have, you're looking at 5 years. If you really, you can do it, and you can start selling them at 2 and 3 years. I wouldn't. I would age my leaves 5 years, because you're going to get a better leaf. The longer you age it, the better the leaf is going to be. It's not my connection stream, it's StreamYard. Every now and then we have problems with StreamYard. And today is one of those days. But y'all have a great week. This is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations. And I'm out.